Hello, Camilla Constance here. Today's video, why do women fake orgasm? Because let's face it, we do, and we do probably a lot more than men would like to think. And the sadness is that I've been told by hundreds and hundreds of men who all think it's a bit of a dirty secret that their greatest sexual pleasure comes from female, genuine sexual pleasure. But they haven't experienced it often enough. So what's going on? Why are men not experiencing genuine, incredible, over-the-top female abandonment, female pleasure, female arousal, just female yes, 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 yes? Why is it not happening genuinely in our bedrooms? I think there are two main reasons why women fake. Hands up, these are two reasons I've used in my past. One, I will fake orgasm to end an ordeal. So if sex has got just very, very boring and it's just like, oh my God, when's this going to finish? Because this is not pleasurable for me at all. In fact, it's beginning to hurt. I will fake an orgasm so that he then has permission to come and hey presto, it's over and I'm happy. That's really quite sad. But you know what? That's the reality, guys. If you are just going in and out and in and out in like a kind of porn-trained way and thinking that's giving us pleasure, the chances are it's not. I've said this before. At the moment, in the West, between 18 to 30% of women experience orgasm through vaginal penetration with a penis. It's not happening for us. So, and yet I know from my experience of working with so many men, I know how deeply they crave to please us. I don't buy the line that all men are bastards and all men are using us and sex is abusive. Yes, sex is often abusive, but I don't think the vast majority of men in our lives are intending to abuse us. I think there is a lot of ignorance out there. I think the medical establishment doesn't help. I think, God, the pharmaceutical establishment definitely doesn't help. In last week's video, I talked about our kind of collective obsession with erections. I don't think that helps. But essentially, we don't care enough about female pleasure. We don't care enough about female sexual energy and about female arousal. And part of the reasons, and it is linked to last week's video, part of the reason why we don't care enough about female pleasure is because we're also obsessed with erections. And the minute there's an erection in the room, there's like a ticking bomb. I'm not going to use the word bomb. It's on a timer. So men will share with their women that their erections have a shelf life, and with the energy of an erection, there grows an urgency. So the erection is going to go one of two ways. He's either going to lose it, or it's going to end in ejaculation for the vast majority of men. They're terrified of losing it, and they're also a little bit worried, because we're also obsessed with performance, that if he ejaculates too quickly, which leads to loss of erection, she's not going to have experienced enough pleasure, so he'll be seen as a failure as well. So kind of either way for men, there's not really an easy win. You're either going to lose the erection, or you're going to ejaculate and lose the erection too soon. And hey presto, here's why women fake orgasm, to persuade our men that they're doing okay. It's a nice thing that we're doing, actually, although it's also sets up this kind of vicious cycle of lack of honesty and lack of openness and lack of really talking and lack of really connecting. So what is going on, and why have we ended up in this situation? What I'm going to suggest to you today is that since Masters and Johnson did their epic sexual research back in, when did they do it? The late 60s. The exciting thing was that they scientifically acknowledged the role and the presence of female orgasm. The problem was they mapped it onto a male model of orgasm. And if you look at their research, if you listen to what they're talking about, literally it was like female orgasm is this, and it was mapped exactly the way that male orgasm is, which kind of fitted into arousal, getting hotter, maybe a bit of a plateau stage, and ejaculation, and so on. And ever since that time, women have been expected, and women have pressured themselves to keep up with that male sexual energy. Whatever age we are, whatever stage of our relationship, we put this huge burden on ourselves to keep up with a male sexual energy, and a very untrained, unsophisticated male sexual energy, I'd add. And we pressure ourselves to contort ourselves to fit into something that's not really us. It's kind of like being angry with your periods. The reality is we're going to bleed on a monthly-ish basis. And for many of us, we turn this into a huge agony and a huge pain and a huge misery because we hate them because it's somehow wrong to be this feminine and female. And we do the same with sex. We pressure our bodies to be something that they're not in order to keep up with something that men supposedly are. So I've heard from too many men the question, please, Camilla, could you teach my wife how to enjoy sex? My answer is pretty much always the same. What I suggest you do is learn about her pleasure. And I am met with, every single time, a mix of confusion, of frustration, and sometimes even resentment. Like, they know what sex is meant to be because they've grown up in a society where sex is a certain model, and since Masters and Johnson we've had this gold standard of what sex looks like, and somehow if female sexual performance doesn't match that gold standard, somehow she is defective in some way. And then when you as a coach say, actually, maybe you're just not understanding her, maybe you're not understanding her body, maybe you need to learn more about your wife, they're totally confused because they're like, well, she should be like everybody else. But the thing is, women's sexuality is so much more complex. We are so much more sophisticated. I genuinely believe that men's sexuality is more complex and sophisticated. But for some reason, I guess the standard model of sexuality is working for men better than it's working for women. Let's face it, they do ejaculate, they do come, whereas women aren't. So, but I actually think that we will have another wave of sexual evolution when we understand how much more men can gain from sex. But right now I'm here talking about women. And I want to bring in a new wave. There is. It's not just me doing this. There's a whole new wave, a whole sexual revolution that's happening, that's moving sexuality from being a totally cock-centric model to a different model of sexuality that is about both people. It's about mutual pleasure. It's about fully understanding and connecting with each other at an energetic level, a physical level, an emotional level. And this is the way that women are going to enjoy sexuality, not just when they're very young or when they're in a new relationship with new relationship energy. This is the way that sexuality is going to sustain us for the whole of our lives, and our men too. And this is the way that there's going to be genuine excitement back in the bedroom. So I believe that it's time that we update our sexual programs. There's nothing wrong with the way that women, the vast majority of women, take longer to reach arousal. There's nothing wrong with women. We haven't gone off sex. This is like this massive delusion we're suffering from at the moment. Women don't go off sex. We just reject bad sex. We go off bad sex. Oh my God, we want good sex. We really want sex that makes our bodies sing, that brings us to light, that fills us with vitality and sparkiness and lust and desire for everything around us. We just don't want a lot of the banging, boring, cock-centric sex. We want to be pleased deeply. Now, I believe that for our men to give us the sex that we deeply desire, they need to take some mastery over their own sexual energy. What's not understood at the moment, and the reason why I believe so much female faking of orgasm is going on, is that men assume that women's sexual energy goes through the same stages as them, and on top of that, there's not enough understanding of male sexual energy, and it's not really very complicated. It's quite straightforward. The minute you're taught this, you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Male sexual arousal goes through 4 stages, and it's visible. It's like, it's measurable. You can see it. You've got cool energy when you've got a soft cock. You've got beginning to warm up when you've got a semi. Then you've got a hard cock, which has got some hot energy. And the final stage, and this is I would call the problematical stage for couples, is you've got what is called the hot and urgent stage. Now, hot and urgent is just before ejaculation, and this stage you're not going to be able to do anything to slow it down. Once you're in stage 4, ejaculation's on its way, pretty much, unless you know some other tricks. But let's just say that stage 4, ejaculation's on its way. Now, not enough men, and certainly not their female partners, know these stages intimately in their partners. So how long is it? How long does there's one particular man. How long do you take to get from stage 1 to stage 4? How long can you last at stage 3? How long generally does it take you to get through from stage 1 to stage 3? This kind of like, how long does it take? Now, for many men, they would like to think that they can last at stage 3 and 4 for a lot longer than they actually can. There's a mass kind of delusion. But essentially, for many men, I think it's a matter of minutes. Now, the problem is, if you are focused on the erection, if you're focused on the hardness of the cock, all of the energy, all of the focus in that room between both people, the man and the woman, is based on what is happening with this cock, and not enough focus and attention is going, what's happening with the vagina. Now, very often our vaginas warm up, we arouse, we get aroused at a very different level to the male erection, despite what Masters and Johnsons did when they mapped female arousal on top of male arousal. Well, actually what we all know, like we know this, women know this, we don't get turned on like that. We don't go from 1 to 4 like that. It takes us 20 minutes and upwards. I would say if you haven't done the dance through the day, it's going to take even longer. So if you're going to bed with a man who gets from 1 to 4 in 3 minutes, and you're a woman who's desiring 20 minutes of pleasure to even get to stage 2 or 3, like, there's a massive mismatch. And this is where the unconscious abuse is happening. This is where penises are entering vaginas which aren't ready, which aren't lubricated, which aren't aroused, which aren't turned on, which are absolutely not going to orgasm. This is when women then suffer from sex that they don't enjoy. So if you read about the rat study in Naomi Wolf's book, Vagina, this is when women turn away from sex, reject men, reject the whole concept because they're having sex that's not pleasurable. So as soon as sex between two people is beginning to take note of and pay attention to the different levels of energy, understanding male sexual energy, understanding how hot and urgent it can be, and understanding how, for most of a woman's life, huge stages of her life, a woman's energy is calmer, it's cooler, it takes more time. Yes, there are stages of her cycle, there are stages of her her life's journey where it might be different, but by and large, a woman's sexual energy is really very different to a man's. And when sex moves away from its obsession with erection and male sexual energy and begins to pay attention to her energy and her state of arousal, everything's going to change. Yeah, it takes time. Yeah, it takes attention. Yeah, it means connecting with each other and talking and reading and informing yourself. But oh my God, the rewards are going to be incredible. Because no more faking for anybody. Like a man in bed having the most incredible sex with a woman who is so sexually alive and so excited and so turned on. And oh my God, when you're in the presence of a woman like that, you don't care how much work it's taken you to get there. So learn about your own sexual energy, learn about her sexual energy, learn about each other's bodies, and connect at a completely different level to the one that we've been conditioned to. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, and also if you want to hear more from me on a regular basis and make sure you don't miss any of my little nuggets of wisdom or complete batty weirdness, just click in the comments below and leave me your email address. And thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.